Hello, my name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running tonight the second of a two-shot of a hack of my own game against the Dark Conspiracy. Check out Gallus Games at itch.io or DriveThruRPG. And you will. This is moving the kind of supernatural espionage mission-based premise of Against the Dark Conspiracy into a cyberpunk future. Where the conspiracy is made up of a number of zaibatsus. Sorry, that was my phone telling me I really should put Do Not Disturb on. There we go. So go back, see session one to find out, about the setup. I will remind you, the viewer, and the players, that we're playing with safety tools. We've got lines and veils in place. Check them out, update them if you want to. We've got an X card in play, and we also have an open door in play. Though I'm hopeful that on the basis of last night, no one's going to think, I've had enough of this. So let's see where we got to. I will ask the players to introduce themselves and their characters, and after each point where they describe their characters, I will provide a brief kind of previously on of where I think you are at in our cliffhanger last night. So again, I'm going to stick with the order of the character keeper because plates spinning too much. Will, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, introduce us to Tower.
Hi, my name is Will, pronouns he, him, as are those of Tower. Tower is the face of the group, former union rep who was hacked to pieces by the corporations, back together again by his friend, and now he's looking to take them on at their own game. And I know exactly where I was last time we saw. It was desperately skirting around the incredible fight that was happening between the two heavies in our team, dragging along our net runner as we kept our eyes on the prize. Never mind this breach chap.
Well, in which case, I think I will skip to Mario next, as said netrunner, ghost runner. Mario, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Hive.
Yeah, hello. My name is Mario. Use they them pronouns, as does Hive. And Hive is here to show you this dystopian hellscape we're all living in great detail with through the art of pain and violence. And yeah, so Hive does hack augmented reality, like the everyday interfaces you use in this world, and makes it appropriately miserable for everyone, equally miserable for everyone.
Well, at the moment, I think Hive is making the view of the corridor on Subbasement 3 as boring as possible for the people up top watching it, watching the feed. Because you have taken control of the video, the audio-video feed from this floor, and so upstairs is just someone sitting cross-legged in the middle of the ground that we know is now stood up.
That is true, but it feels miserable since I'm at stress 5.
Oh, that is true. Yes, we must remind me about Secret Relief from the Horror before we do anything else. I think next I will go to David. Say hello, tell us about pronouns, and introduce us to Kumo, dangerous as she is.
Yeah. Hello, David MK, he, him pronouns, playing Kumo, she, her. And she's almost 5 feet tall, full of intense potential, anger and other issues, anxiety. And she's dancing with Bravo, our new friend in the corridor, and I think enjoying this opportunity to give back to the corporation what they've taken, and helping hopefully to line up shots for my good compatriot who's in the really interesting duct.
Yeah, we saw Kumo, who is 5'0", but genetically built to last and to do harm, casually slice a minigun barrel in half from the assailant who is in the corridor. Said Bravo, who is odd in ways we will discover, I think. And finally, the person who put, you know, a high caliber sniper round into Bravo, and see him kind of take a slight kind of shock, and otherwise have no effect at all. Sabine, say hello and introduce us to Spider and where you think we left Spider.
Hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns. My character Spider also uses any pronouns. They can't be bothered about that. Spider's an assassin, was created in a vat to be an assassin, and has then been thrown out because the program was scrapped for reasons they don't really know. They don't really care. They only know how to be an assassin, basically. And yeah, that's how they ended up with this team. Also, they had a mentor and they've gone missing, so whatever. They're here, they have a gun, they were in the vents for a bit, and yeah, they put a bullet into this Bravo chap that he didn't go down. I mean, okay, he's big, he's probably kind of jumped up on some drugs and stuff like that. You put enough bullets in something, it will slow down. But what maybe will be another problem is the wasps coming from behind them, but she has an idea about that.
Because all the surfaces down here in sub-level 3, and indeed notice this first in the lift shaft heading down, appear to be a kind of synthetic layers of synthetic hive, from which, yes, we saw and heard a swarm of these wasps, for want of a better word, heading through the ducting towards Spider. So I propose, I think, to start there. What do you do, Cyber? Spider?
Yeah, so well, I think I don't want to make the acquaintance of these wasps. I think, okay, what I want to have is a smoke grenade, because I seem to remember that wasps don't much like smoke. Can I just equip myself with that, or do I have to spend an intel for a connection?
No, not at all.
Oh.
You know, generally speaking, the equipment in the list is yours to use.
Cool. Then I will have. I mean,
it's the
there's
cyberpunk
not...
future. There aren't this kind of
okay,
controls.
okay. Cool. There's not a smoke grenade, so I'll go with a kind of stun grenade, if that's
Yeah.
probably the thing I'm going for, right? Okay, and then I use this. I'll just toss the stun grenade into the vent behind me, and then jump out of the vent and close the thing. I don't know if I can still close the. I mean, there are can you close the vent down?
I think the difficulty will be, you need to get out of there fairly swiftly now you've tossed the grenade.
Yep.
And you're going to drop 8 or 10 feet to the ground. The question is, are you going to hang from this vent while you try to resecure it, or put distance between you and the wasps? The choice is yours.
I didn't get the last part. You were too fast.
Sorry. You could try to hang from the vent
okay,
while you resecure the kind of the grill. But I'll be honest with you, whether the grill is sufficiently fine to stop the wasps, I think is questionable.
I mean, I'm hoping that the smoke grenade will stop the wasps.
Exactly.
So I don't bother with that. I mean, there's still this big guy and stuff like that, and I don't want to let go of my sniper rifle, precisely.
Fine. So kick it out and drop to the corridor, the corridor below. Yep. You will be aware as you kick it open that you can see now activity in the hive material in the corners of the corridor as well.
Oh, great.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
And let's see how this effort to stun and disrupt these wasps in the corridor goes. So I think this is confront, an effort to take them out. What you want to do is to drive them off, blow as many of them up as possible, you know, do as much harm as possible, stop them in their tracks, this part of the swarm. So I think you've got the grey dice. I think expertise is appropriate. Anything else you think applies? I'm just trying to check. Oh, deadly.
Is deadly applies?
Yeah, I think so. It's distance, timing, all of that. Yep. So I think you're rolling all 3 dice.
I'm rolling 3 dice.
And the stress dice if you want it. But of course, if this goes horribly wrong, there is a chance that the wasps will come at you. So whether any of them get through, I think we'll deal with the risk dice. So you roll one risk dice as you are at risk. You roll another one because these are not ordinary. And you roll another one because there's a lot of them. So you're rolling 3 risk dice and up to 4 dice of your own.
Wow. 3 risk dice. Okay. These are as dangerous as that Bravo guy. Wow.
And more difficult to kill.
Yeah.
It's probably the honest truth.
Yeah. Well, you got 6 stress boxes in this game. I love that. I'm rolling the stress die.
Oh,
Okay, I've
you
got it.
guys, a 6.
Yeah, well,
Gee
okay.
whiz.
Hello there.
So you have stopped that bit of the swarm, that bit of the cyber-wasp, for want of a better phrase, and not even on the stress dice. What extra benefit do you want in relation to these wasps?
Are they maybe all kind of linked in some kind of hive mind so that when some of these are smoked out, the others at least get disoriented a little?
I think that's fine. The wasps that you saw emerging from the corridor portion of the hive, I think begin to kind of wander around on the surface of the walls, slightly confused. So I think that's a good benefit. Remember to mark intel.
Yeah, I mark intel and I have to roll for stress.
And you have to roll for stress because I think that it is the knowledge that this is not, the swarm has not gone away. And you
and the swarm is super dangerous swarm. See how that goes. Wow, yeah. Can I use intel to buy off stress in this version of the game?
I'm trying to remember which rules now apply. Let's see. Intel during recover their expertise.
If I'm looking at everybody
During
else, come on,
downtime.
I can't take the
No,
stress.
during the operation when their stress is 4+ to reduce stress, spend intel.
It's not 4+ yet. It's 4+ yet now, but I can do it before. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. I'm a little stressed out because all of these wasps. I maybe saw some wasp take down a spider once, and that was I had thoughts about that.
Before I come to Kumo and your antagonist Bravo, let me talk to Tower and Hive. Now you fled the scene. So you are out of danger. Bravo can't get to you, won't get to you, but you have the option to come back or proceed towards the data store that is your ultimate target. Hive, what are you thinking?
Right now, just to keep my cool, I probably blabber some stuff about the last session with my therapist. That is also my, what is it? Anchor? Yeah. It's my anchor. Exactly.
So this is so is this secretly from the horror by looking for guidance, flashing back to the guidance your therapist offered you?
Yeah, I'll probably just like talk. Well, that's exactly like in genre, like genre appropriate, right? So it's basically that's what my therapist said I should not do. This is like way too stressful for not enough payoff.
I think because they are your anchor, I think the only way to directly engage with the anchor is to seek solace in a relationship. So I think it's I'd forgotten that your therapist was your anchor. So if you say something new about your anchor, work your way through these prompts. Where do they live? So where do we see this therapy session going on?
So just give me. I was living at university district, so oh, I think it's one of these old school buildings, well, fake old school buildings, where they make you believe they actually used like rough cut stone, but it's just like I don't know some new kind of plastics that just looks and feels like stone. And it looks like it's a tower at the side of a building. Probably the part where they used to do history lectures. And now it's just repurposed because everybody thinks it's like pretty dumb to have such a building around. And the inside is quite the opposite. The inside is very clean and very modern, as is the rest of the district.
Fine. Then reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6.
Okay, I take the central grade eye. That is a 4.
It doesn't matter for this one. It's only if it came up a 6 that it would matter.
Oh, yeah, because then I would reduce another one, right?
Yeah, and I will mark your anchor as noticed, a target for the conspiracy. So your connection to Dr. Harmony, the therapist, has been noted by the conspiracy. But it got you a stress back. What more do you want? So Hive, what are you thinking at the moment? Is your advice to Tower, leave them to it, let's go get the data, or do you want to stay here with a watching brief?
I think we need to get the job done rather sooner than later at this point, because there have been too many surprises already. I thought we were prepared for this.
Yeah.
Tower,
So,
what are you thinking?
Tower, as you know, we've pulled up against that corner kind of thing. You can hear the fight going on around the thing. You know, he's been like talking to Hive as Hive's just eyes glazed over with the net running code, and he comes, snaps back out of it and goes like, just like my therapist said, you know, we need to focus on the job. And Tower's like, yeah, so stop babbling about your therapist and let's fucking get on with it, Choom. Come on.
And then there's that kind of whoop of the stun grenade around the corner, which might prompt you to move more swiftly towards the data. I don't know. So yeah, you're off down the corridor. That's what I need to know. Kumo, you are up close and personal with this 8-foot tall, cybered, altered individual. So far, all we know is that he had a minigun and he was cowled and cloaked. Now you're up close and personal. I can tell you that he is an insect hybrid. He has 2 walking legs, 4 manipulator legs. 2 of them are melded to miniguns, one of which you have dealt with. But I think I owe him the opportunity to try to use that other minigun. With Spider ahead of him, because the nice thing about him is he can do multiple things at once. So Spider, you drop down just in time, land like a cat. Are you still naked and camouflaged?
Yeah, I mean, I did not get the chance to dress up, and why would I anyway?
Of course. So there's a kind of the mirrors, the chameleon skin is kind of adjusting to the new light balance and the background. It's picking up data from here and manipulating it. So I think it's a matter of luck rather than skill whether you get sprayed by this high caliber weapon.
Okay.
The high caliber weapon means that it applies crush at a distance.
Ow. Whatever that means, but it doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound good. So I'm going to give you expertise. So because I think that the chameleon suit covers that. But I am going to throw a couple of wrist dice at you.
Yeah.
You can't hurt him at this point. You are a target rather than actor in this. So off you go. Stress dice if you want it.
You say a couple, is that 2? Or...
That's a 2, yes. Sorry.
Oh, that's 2. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with stress. Let's roll the selected dice.
Whoa.
Wow, that's 3 6s. One of them on a stress die.
Offer. One of them is on the stress die, so stress goes up. Well done. Stress goes up.
But now I can spend intel to just reduce it again, right? Because
you can if that's what you want to do.
Well, I don't want to go up to a high up with this.
Cool. And on a 6, it goes perfectly. So what benefit do you get? Is there something that this spraying of the minigun does that is to your advantage, or do you find yourself in an advantageous position somehow?
2 ideas. Either he takes out some of the wasps, or he doesn't notice me at all, and I have my gun at a very good point to hit his head again, and I think I might go for that.
Yeah, I think so. I think even with the heavy caliber, I don't think it's going to have much of. I mean, probably there's a great spray of holes in the walls and the venting. But yeah, you are in an advantageous position.
Nice.
I will find some way to reflect that if and when you take another shot at him.
Okay.
Kumo,
Yes.
one minigun arm out of commission, the other one spraying wildly behind you. Meanwhile, two other arms are now engaged with you. What do you
Awesome.
do?
So is he wearing like full body armor, or is there like a rib structure, a thorax or something, or what?
Chitinous plates.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah.
So that means there's gaps. So I remember us narrating when I ripped his minigun apart that his ammunition kind of popped out like popcorn. So I like the idea of having caught some of those, and I want to stuff them between his plates and then shoot them.
Love it. Love it. So let's have you roll to confront.
Yeah.
Expertise is at play. You can have, I think now that you're up close and personal, I'm going to cancel out the benefit of your crush by his multiple arms working against you.
Sure.
So gray and orange, green if you want it, and 3 stress dice, because you are outnumbered by the number of arms.
Okay. So I'm going to do stress, expertise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gray. Is deadly here because I'm potentially using the ammunition?
I'm going to cancel that out.
Okay.
On the grounds that he too has, is very strong.
Sure.
So I'm going to give you 3 risk die.
Okay. Let's go with that. All right. I'm just going to roll it. It should be 6 dice. I got a 6 on risk and then 3 on stress.
Okay, well that's all right then, isn't it? Strangely, mine hasn't updated. I had no trouble yesterday. That's odd. No, that hasn't shifted since spiders. So anyway, run that by me again.
Yeah, I have a 3 in stress, a 1 in expertise, a 2 in the gray, 3, 6, 6 on risk.
Okay, so the risk die, you're going to take consequence here.
Mhm.
Run the 3 dice by me again. There was a 1 and a 2 and a
3 on stress.
So all of those are fails. So you're not doing any good at all. You have no impact on him, but you are going to have to roll for a consequence.
Okay.
So if you go to the confront tab, you will see harmful consequence. You are going to roll a single dice. You can add the stress dice if you want to increase your chance of getting a good number. You are going to modify the highest roll by -1 because they are a full Borg. Still says supernatural in the rules, but you get the idea. So you're going to roll either 1 dice or 1 dice and the stress dice. You're going to subtract 1 from the highest result, and you're going to read that against the highest modified roll is high would be good.
Okay, so stress and 1 other die. Okay, and then I'm going to take 1 off of the result. Okay, all right, let's see what we got. So I rolled a 1 and a 4, so that would be a 3.
Okay, so 1 to 3, the consequence is serious. Tail control, if it's mortal, fill your stress track and crack. It's bloody, you'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment. Or it's painful, you cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment. And there is an option here.
Mhm.
You can either hit the drop down that gives you no access to your expertise until you spend some intel to get it back.
Mhm.
Or you can take one of your cybered expertise out of circulation for the duration of the mission.
Okay. I think I have crush, authority, and resilience. I think I'm going to take authority out. Does that work?
Fine.
Okay, I'll do that. And then does my stress go up again?
No.
Okay.
No. No, because hang on. Yeah, stress was your highest dice, wasn't it? Yes, it does. I'm sorry.
I had a 4 stress as of last session.
Yeah,
so
so
I think
now
it
it's
goes
5.
up to 5. Yep.
Yeah, it does. Sorry. It's because I can't see the dice. I can't process it. And mortal, bloody, or painful. Gone for painful. Cannot use you that authority. how do we want to play that? I'm imagining.
So I think I am wincing, like I am not composed. So I think I look more wounded than any intimidation.
You now
Is it-
do look like a small woman.
Yeah.
But it's your mods, right? So how do you think authority comes through in the mods? I was thinking maybe like you've got like voice augmentation or something. He gets a lucky shot in on your throat, and you're like,
I like the idea of almost like the subsonic, almost like from the David Lynch weirding voice.
Mhm.
That's just not working anymore. I just sound like I chain smoke now.
Yeah, fine. Thank you for the reminder, Will. That was a good call. So yeah, you're in a heap over there.
Mhm.
Spider, you've got time. You've got another couple of actions maybe before these wasps begin to get their act together. So what do you want to do with this? You are in whatever good position you want to be in.
Yeah, well, I want to shoot him. I mean, come on. What do you think? I don't want to start flirting with him because I've heard about that. Yes, I've thought I would give it a try eventually, but no, maybe that's not the right time now. So shooting.
So what position are you in? Are you at some distance taking careful shot, or are you
Yeah.
getting up close to him to try and pick a spot?
No, I think I'm a bit. I roll away from the minigun, and so I'm at a little distance. I don't. I mean, I can see him. Yeah, I don't think shooting out the lights is a good idea because
Do you want to be
know.
at the far side of him? So you've
Yeah.
come down and you've rolled past him. So you're
Yeah.
behind him.
What I want to do is shoot at his face again and maybe find a spot that is really vulnerable there. Because I mean, I've find the hole I dug in before, right? That has to be a big hole. It's a sniper rifle. They don't leave small holes. I'll just shoot at that hole again.
Let's see.
Yeah,
So
it goes
deadly
awfully.
applies.
Yeah.
You are in a good position. He doesn't know you're there, so no risk die.
Wow. Okay. I'm still taking the stress die. I mean,
What are you
sorry.
doing for me here? A 6, not on the stress die. Well, do mark intel.
Yep.
And you know, a bit of the back of his head just blows out.
Good.
But the peculiar thing is that he doesn't immediately drop. That's why you roll for stress.
Okay, fine. But I do get an exceptional success, right?
Yes, I've given you extra harm, unless you want to do something else with it.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I'll think I'm gonna spend the intel again.
It is the sudden realization that it is conceivable that he has a more dispersed nervous system of a more insect variety than the one you were expecting.
That makes sense, yeah.
So you've hit him in the head, but it may take more than just hitting him in the head. So,
yeah, okay. But does hitting him in the head make him slow him down at all, or make some glitches happen?
It's done some extra harm. You know, I'm still, but not enough to take him down.
Oh, okay.
But you do need to roll for stress on that 6, because that
I have done that.
Round the corner, Tower and Hive heading for the data store. And what I'm imagining here is a large space. It's kind of old school, because it's not connected to the reality of the modern day. What Hive cues you into the fact that this is a generation old technology?
I mean, they got physical keyboards, which is why.
I mean, that's just bonkers.
Yeah.
Tower, what's the threat? What's the most obvious thing that worries you about this space?
The thing that really worries me is the drone human hybrids that are looking in surprise at us as we run around the corner.
Because though it's old tech, there are indeed, smaller wasp hybrids, here. So I'm
I'm imagining
thinking,
like he's the soldier drone, like beefed up, augmented, hard-jacked, chromed, and everything, as well as chitinous, and then you have like the sort of worker bee type ones going back and forth, and then all of them is
tapping on these keyboards. So we've got some drone hybrids. Thank you for that. Hive, where do you think you need to make a connection?
It's always on the back of those consoles. That it's the old generation with the wiring and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. So, Howard, you need to be thinking about how are you going to clear some drones from the vicinity where Hive needs to plug in.
I think it's going to be with, as much as I love my mods and my wanting to use my pop-out gun, I think it's probably better to use the, is there no submachine gun?
Isn't there?
No, I don't see one.
That seems odd, doesn't it?
Does seem really odd. I swear there was in the older keepers.
Isn't SMG standing for submachine gun?
Yeah. Is there an SMG in there?
Compact SMG.
It's like compact. Yeah. There we go. Well, then it's the compact SMG.
Fine.
That I think is in pieces in my jacket, right? And as we go around the corner, as like they come, I go like, well, shit. You got this. Like you see a place of jack in Hive as I like pull out one piece, pull out my sleeve, pull out another piece, and
I'm going to give you that. Next time we should remember you don't have enough room in that light load for a submachine gun, but go for it on this occasion.
Oh, because it's 2 tabs.
It's 2s. But never mind.
I brought enough stuff. Yeah. So I'll just choose that. Don't worry.
There we go.
Yeah, I always forget that the loads indicate how heavy a thing you can bring with you.
It's how bulky, yeah. So I've marked 2 gear off Hive's kind of drag bag.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to mark any yeah, you do. Yes. Fine. So you've both used up a bit of capacity. Hive. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you to medium and them down from heavy.
That seems like a good.
That works, I think.
And then could Hive untick those 2 boxes that they've taken since they've
could.
Okay.
Exactly so. Yeah.
I think that's how we did it in Fake Queen. Bringing along every heavy gear and
So sorry for that kind of mechanical but confront the drones.
Yeah, Hive throws me one of those bags, and that's when I pull it out of the machine gun out of it, right?
Oh, yes.
I turn around just as the grasping tendrils and hands come round the thing at me, and I confront the drones with a spray of machine gun fire.
And this sounds like aim to take them out.
Yes.
Fight or shoot at the threat, say what success looks like, create an opening for Hive.
Yeah.
This is less about taking them down as driving them away from the area that you need to be at. Is that fair?
Yeah, they keep coming from places like, who knows? Like, as soon as I take down one, there's another one, right? So do I get my expertise?
I think you get small arms, yeah. Stress dice if you want it. And I think probably given the nature of the beast, just a single risk dice.
Okay.
No, two, because there are a lot of them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd always agree with more punishing stuff. That's a 5 on the normal dice.
Fine. So and no problem with them. They scatter away from, as you kind of just driving them away from this area, creating an opening for Hive that I will come back to shortly. Kumo, you are collecting yourself as this guy kind of scuttles across the corridor at you. What are you going to do?
Okay, so I just want to be clear, I was unsuccessful with ramming some ammunition between the plates. Is that correct?
You were.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, if this makes sense, I want to shoot the ammunition that is like right at their feet.
Okay. I'm prepared to give that a go. I
Okay.
thought you might want to engage with Crash again, but no, that's fine.
I
So-
think, given the situation, I think I'm like against the wall, like recovering and breathing, like vision's heavy. So I think I still have like the gun in my hand. I'm like looking around. I'm seeing where the creature is and getting my bearings. And I just see the ammo on the ground. I'm like, well, I'm going to give this a shot.
Fine. I've selected handgun from your load.
Okay. Awesome.
So yeah, you're going to try and set off this ammunition. Try to discommode him, blow a leg off if you were really lucky. So I think expertise is at play.
Okay.
I think that Crash isn't. So expertise, stress dice if you want it, and 3 risk die.
Okay. All right. I think I'm in the correct roller now. I think I was in yesterday's.
Ah,
All
that
right,
might
so let me.
explain everything.
Yeah. So let me give this a go and see if it works. Okay. I got. Do you see it?
I do. A 4 and a stress dice. Stress is going to go up.
Is it because it's below my stress?
No, if you rely on the stress dice for your success, stress will go up.
Okay. Then I now have 6
Oh,
stress.
then I should have offered you the chance to seek relief from the horror before I asked you to make that roll.
I would like to seek relief from the horror.
You've got the option here. You could spend an intel just to reduce stress by 1, or you could engage with seek relief.
I want to do a seek relief since I don't think we've done that yet.
Okay.
So that's a move tab.
It is. Behave badly, indulge a vice, flashback to some solid noodle guidance from someone perhaps, or describe the number one noodle stand in seek solace in a relationship, or reveal some of your history with another operator.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I think I want to reveal some of your history together.
Okay.
Let's see. I think I want to do Hive, if that's okay.
Okay. So working your way through this series of recollections as flashback, your first recollection of Hive.
I think the recollection, the first time we encountered the zaibatsu together.
Which one of them?
Oh, let's take a look at the sprawl. Let's see.
Which of them did you confront together?
Mario, do you have a preference?
No,
Okay.
anything is fine.
Okay. Let's just go with Cytotechnica.
Cytotechnica, the engineering company.
Yep.
And what was the circumstances? Just give me a bit of something for because I'm going to go to Mario and ask a question in a moment. So
Yeah, so I think they're responsible for some sort of faulty let's see, they do engineering, some sort of faulty cyberware that is of course tied up in courts they're not admitting to.
fine. Roll me a d6. Oh, reduce stress by 1. Roll me a d6.
Okay. Let me get back over there. Stress. All right, I'm gonna roll my green die. I got a 6.
Okay. On a 6, 4+. The other operator describes a different version of the event. They say why they are hurt by it, and they roll for stress, or they choose to add something about their anchor to their recollections. They mark their anchor, turning Dr. Harmony into someone just taken off the street, from a target to missing. So, do you want to roll for stress, Hive, or do you want to have Dr. Harmony in greater jeopardy?
Okay, since we don't know if we're gonna play any further, like you have ideas for tying Dr. Harmony into the next run?
I can always find a way to have an anchor in
Dan.
jeopardy. Don't you worry about me.
Okay, perfect. Then I think she's missing.
Okay, I will mark Dr. Harmony as missing. Um, yeah, I think we'll just, the door we saw you closing as you went to visit her in the previous flashback. We now see the door.
Oh, we probably see I probably just went straight from my therapy session to the job, which was probably not the smartest in a heavily surveilled area.
Love it, love it. Yeah, so Dr. Harmony is now missing, maybe just for two, missing, uncontactable, purely innocent reasons, conceivably. Don't you worry about it. She'll be fine. They'll be fine. So that reduced Kumo's stress from 5 to 4. You then roll the dice. It goes back up to 5 because you relied on your stress dice. And you had a 4 on that stress dice, which means you succeed in setting off the explosion. That is going to blow the leg off Bravo, and he's going to keel over. But he also did rather well on those wrist dice. So you are going to have to roll for another consequence, I'm afraid.
Yippee.
He got close enough, or maybe it was blow back off those shells.
Does my resilience expertise help in this?
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
I also have.
Right. So you are going to add 1 to your.
Okay. I also have plate armor.
Oh, right. Then really we should not have applied that loss of authority to you.
Oh, okay.
Because you could just mark the armor and not take the harm. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do that.
So that will have taken the subdermal plates out last time. Yeah?
Okay.
So this time the question is, how bad is it going to get? Let's have you roll a d6. You would be subtracting 1 because he's so dangerous, but your resilience would give you +1. So just roll a d6 and add the stress dice if you want to roll 2 dice instead of 1.
Okay, so I rolled 1 die. That was a 3, so I'm going to roll just a gray die now. I got a 5.
A 5. A 4+. You were lucky this time. It hurts, but you'll live. So
Yay.
bits of high caliber ammunition exploding around the place. And I think that's probably what begins to attract the wasps' attention. I think you've bought your time, Spider. Their stunned and confusion is now more focused on the fact that there's been explosion, bits of shrapnel hitting the walls. Do you run off the pair of you after friends Hive and Tower?
Is that Bravo guy down?
Bravo is gone.
Nice.
Leaking
I didn't realize
clear insectoid fluids.
I didn't realize we had taken him out. I just thought we had kind of wounded him more.
No, that was the fifth harm. That was
his brain, he had an extra brain in his knee. They do that.
In an insect-like way, he's still twitching, but it's clearly not in anything but a really unpleasant way.
I don't know if this is possible, but I kind of feel like this is Kumo's MO. Eventually, the hope is to take down corporations. I'm going to take a sample of that ichor as they're running out.
Fine. And if later on you spend some intel to tell us something about that, otherwise it'll be worthless.
Cool.
Off after Tower and Hive, who we cut to. Tower has cleared the way. Hive, you have access to the terminal. What do we see?
I mean, at this point, they will know that we were here. So I just rip out like the monitor cable, and since this is old tech and we are fighting right now, can I just use my my data pad and just crawl the data?
Now the only way to get this data is using intrusion.
Okay.
And to use intrusion, you will need to use that icebreaker deck I've just added to your gear.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Because it requires particular software. It's not just, well, you could sit here for the next several days trawling through it visually. But I think Tower is saying, get the fuck on.
So this is automated then. Perfect.
It's a tool. Yeah.
Okay.
And the question then becomes, how far do you need to go? Now, I'm going to roll a dice just to give me some idea of how deep in the data this is. Okay. So we've never used this rule, folks. So let's go to basic moves, expertise, intrusion. So getting data that matters, you have to use an icebreaker deck. And really it's about you attacking this data structure as if it was a member of the conspiracy. So do something else. This keeps playing the danger card. Okay, so you'll need to get into the system and then go deep enough into it. I know it's going to take you 3 layers of depth to get to this data. So the first one, you are going to confront the conspiracy in effect with only 1 risk die to see whether any of the black ice comes at you.
Okay.
So you're rolling the gray dice, the expertise dice, and you can add the stress dice if you want it. And then you're going to add
and
one
one
risk
risk die.
die.
Okay. Nah, I think I'm just not stress is pretty rare for a ghost. I'll try my best with the 2.
Will you look at that? That is a failure or success at a cost.
Definitely success at a cost.
Mark stress.
Damn.
So success at a cost gets you through the first layer. Mark intel, but also you get some feedback from some of the peripheral kind of hunter trackers in here. So you're going to roll a d6 on harmful consequences. No modifiers. You could add the stress dice if you wanted to have a better chance of rolling.
I'm at 5.
Oh, well, maybe not then.
No. That is a 2.
2. The consequence is serious. Tell control if it's mortal, fill your stress track and crack. It's bloody, you'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment. Or painful, cannot use your expertise to get medical treatment. Or you could, I can't remember if any of your expertise is wear related. You could
intrusion.
Yeah, the very one that you would not want to mark off.
But that just seems to be pretty dumb on a run. So I think I'm gonna die without medical treatment. And I'm gonna call out to Tower. Okay, this looks old, but there is some badass ice, and I'm not sure I'm gonna survive the thing here.
And Tower, you've made this opportunity. The drones are kind of coming back towards you. But the kind of the temple socket that Hive is connected to this gear is there's just a thin wisp of burning electronics coming up from it.
It's the scream, right, that turns me around, that draws my attention. I'm like, you good? You good? We got this, yeah. And then, oh shit.
Slight suggestion of fitting.
Yeah.
So do you want to mark a medical kit?
Yeah, sure.
Giving the drones a chance to come at you. But of course, that is the very point that Spider and Kumo, herring round the corner, arrive in this data cavern.
Oh, I like slide across the floor, pull out the hyperstim right from the bag, jam it into his chest, and I'm like turning around just as the hands like grab at me and pull me back away from Hive, and then that's when Kumo and Spider come round the corner.
Spider, you have agility. I think I'll give you first crack at this. Hive is plugged in and appears to be in some difficulties.
Okay.
Tower is about to be descended on by some of these drones.
Can Tower literally be like that Day of the Dead style of like being pulled? He's got super strength, right? So one of them goes flying, but then 10 more of them just jump on his arm or something, right? Like,
what do you want to do, Spider?
I mean, blowing up towers. I've learned that you should not blow up your friends, so I'm not blowing up Tower. I'm slowly and methodically blow up of these drones. They're a bit like baby Bravos, so I shoot at the knee, maybe. They seem to be vulnerable there.
Fine. So again, you're trying to kind of draw them away, blow them away.
I don't
them
want
away.
to draw them away. They're fine where they are. I mean, nothing against Tower. I like Tower a lot, but he's better equipped at being hopped about with drones than me.
So this is about stopping any other ones arriving at this melee.
No, I want to shoot them off him.
Oh, oh, right. So you do want to put. Sorry, I thought you weren't going to put him in the crosshairs. No, fine.
Oh,
right.
sure. I have confidence in my abilities to not shoot Tower.
Okay. So you get the grey dice, the expertise dice. You can have the deadly dice, stress dice if you want it. I think really there is 2 dice, 2 risk die. But to be honest, the only person at risk here is Tower.
Sorry. Yeah, that's yeah, okay. Let's see how that goes. I'm not using. Is this stressing me out? Yeah, I like Tower, so yeah. So see where that goes.
Will you look at that? So a 4 is success. You do, kind of, and these drones come off. But one of the shots at least wings Tower. So I think it's only fair I should allow Tower to roll for the consequence.
He's resilient though.
He is resilient.
And I think he has armor stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, I could do.
Do you want to mark off that subdermal armor and just ignore this?
Where would that be?
Oh no, you haven't got it. No, sorry, I thought you
don't. I know you don't.
I thought you'd chosen the.
No,
subdermal.
I'm just resilient, which is my body type.
Yeah.
So that gives me
so your systems are hardened. So roll a d6 and add 1. Add the stress dice if you like.
Why not?
5 plus 1 is 6. So on a 6, 4 plus, you were lucky this time, it hurts, but you'll live. On a natural 6. Oh, no, natural 6. Damn. So no, you're fine.
But yeah, I think it's she's got it. They've got it all lined up on the one that's sort of like trying to pull my head off, right? And just as they're about to hit the thing, I jerk my head back and headbutt them, and that's because it just slides across, like the bullet just across the eyebrow, explode. Like as I headbutt them, the bullet explodes their head as well.
Fine, giving you one of those attractive cyberpunk kind of eyebrow markings. They're off you. Let me cut back to Hive. That gets you through the first layer of ice. You're now into the deeper ice before you can achieve the 3rd level where the data is. Would you like to seek to proceed with the intrusion? You can always walk away, Hive. Don't let me force you.
Nah. This is. I would walk away from, I don't know, maybe a fight or something at some point, but this is my expertise. I don't want to look dumb.
This is the challenge, isn't it? So let me just check in on your stress, because you are... Oh, 5. Yeah. So if this goes badly, you could crack before you get in. Do you want to seek relief from the horror?
No.
Oh, my goodness me. Do you want to spend intel to reduce that stress by 1?
Oh, that I can do. I got plenty of intel.
Okay.
I didn't know I could do that. That is cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
As long as stress is 4 or more. So that gives you a bit of headroom. Focus on the job. The hypo jab has helped. You are rolling the grey dice, the expertise dice. You can roll the stress dice if you want it, but this time you roll 2 risk die.
No, I'm gonna flat. I still underestimate the situation, I guess. Oh, this looks good.
That is a 6, and it's higher than any risk dice. So on a 6, mark intel. It's always good to get. And I'm going to give you the data on that. I'm not going to force you to the 3rd level. You managed to find, maybe it's that back door that you tried to get in here somehow. Maybe it finally is paying off.
I mean, it's that classic 2035 thing where, like that major ice that it looked different, but now I got it, and it's pretty old school. It just looked new. Amateurs.
So you have the data, the intel you hold. As long as you leave this job with one intel, Hive, that is the data. If you lose all your intel, that data is lost with it. Okay? So now you have to get out. Kumo, it looks like Spider has cleared the way from Tower and Hive. Is there anything you want to do?
I think Kumo's mission parameters reverts to bodyguard of Hive and the data for the mission. And I think there'd be this like little cutscene of them when they were going to that zaibatsu.
Fine. Do you want to turn that into Seek Relief from the Horror?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because if you want to, your recollection of time you saved Hive. So in this run against that zaibatsu, was there an opportunity for you to have saved Hive?
I would like it to actually be when Hive saved me, and now I'm trying to return the favor.
Okay. Well, then Hive, in that run, how did you save Kumo?
By hurting them, by hurting her, because I threw her off the roof before the rocket launcher hit.
Okay. So David,
I think that's why I got the dermal plating after that.
reduce stress by 1, David, and roll a d6.
Okay. Tough love. All right, I'm just gonna roll my stress die. Let's see what we got. I got a 4.
4 plus. The other operator, which in this case is you, given that we've had the description, describes a different version of the event. They say why they are hurt by it, and you. So how is it different? Your recollection of this?
I'm gonna say, yeah, he. I don't know if you can actually throw Kumo even pre-dermal plating, but I mean, I think like Kumo remembers it as you bumping into her.
Stumbling into her.
Right. And she fell off and probably was cursing in Japanese all the way down.
I'm going to cut it at that. That's fine. Who cares about the rules? That's such a nice vision. You have the data. You have Hive Kumo under your wing. Spider Tower, who's leading the way out?
Is there a way to spend intel for a contact who is kind of coming at us from the sewers to clear the way to get us out?
Okay, so if you look at one of the ways you can spend intel in this version of the game is you can shift the relationship
Okay.
of one of the either one of the locals or one of the gangs to be more favorable to you.
Oh, okay.
And then if they are, and I think I'm right in saying, if you can get them to at least, hang on, where's it gone? If you can shift them to allied or loyal, you can then spend an intel to declare an intervention by them on your behalf, or do the same with a competing or other with a zaibatsu.
So we know that this was Nexus Pharma thing, or was this a neural core thing?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think that's the challenge. It's in a Nexus Pharma location, but the only exec had access down here was Neuroscore.
Okay, so I have 2 intel. I would like to keep 1. So okay then.
Well, this could be a collaborative effort.
Yeah, right. So collaboratively, I think we might do something with the Zoom Zooms, because they might have a vehicle that can get us out of here, right?
They do.
So
so if you spend an intel, you can shift them from snitch to neutral.
Okay. and then somebody else could do that.
Exactly.
And then somebody else could say, and they are interceding on our behalf. Love it. Okay, so I will shift, sorry, words today. I will shift them from snitch to neutral.
And erase an intel. Does anybody else want to step up? You know, Spider did some groundwork with the Zoom Zooms before you came in here. Did anyone contribute to that?
I think Kumo did. I think Kumo is in a uncertain relationship with one of them.
Spend the intel, shift them from neutral to allied.
Done.
The way I turned them to neutral, I snapped off some cameras for them when they did one of their races in the Mega Mall.
Love it, love it. And then someone could spend an intel at any time to declare an intervention by an allied gang, i.e. the Zoom Zooms, in support of the team. So does anybody want to spend that intel?
Do we want that?
Well, I think the objective
I got
is
3, okay.
that the Zoom Zooms might provide a way out that isn't back up through sub-level 2.
Yeah, I had 3 intel, so I spent 1 and still good.
Thank you.
I mean, it's probably the communications that matter in this case, right? And
quite possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
got a
the
secure
intel
channel.
And what this was your idea, Spider. So I'm going to come to you first. How do the Zoom Zooms arrive here? Because this appears to be a kind of blank area in the grid.
I mean, somebody got the blueprints, right? So yeah, we found this there that they are pretty close, you know, to the sewers. And I think I still have a bit of load left for a few explosives. So we blow a wall. And then there is this service tunnel to the sewers. Doesn't smell too nice, but there is a zoomie standing around. It's pretty old because zoomies by then would be about 80. Yeah, standing around with some kind of well,
don't tell me, because Kumo created the Zoom Zooms.
Yeah, okay, right. So standing there
or
waiting
David
for us.
did. So it's fair that I ask Kumo, what vehicle or vehicles does this sewer, or maybe an ancient subway tunnel, what do the Zoom Zooms drive?
I think that they're souped up segways.
Souped up hover segways, yes. And so see you crawling through this. I think I have to have now the wasps become a problem for exfiltration. So as they, you're clambering through, I think that the hybrid drones are, beginning to get a bit more organized. And, as we did last time before the commercial break, the camera zooms down the corridor, turns a sharp right to see the corridor kind of hazy with wasps. And this is where we'll take our break. So it's 8 minutes past now. Can I suggest that we're back together at 15:15? I'll see you then. So we pick up with the Zoom Zooms on these kind of souped up hover segways. I'm thinking, a handful of Zoom Zooms, one each with you as a passenger, and then maybe a couple of outriders, zooming through these old, out of use, half a century old sewers and subway tunnels.
I thought these things were recalled after the massacre in Seattle.
Zoom like. And I think what I'd like to do is I will have a little cutscene which will show a current day subway station, which is delivering cleaners from the less well-off bit of town, which I think we call the Breaks, probably. You know, a crowded subway carriage is pulling into this shiny Nexus Pharma University subway station, and you know, these kind of working class people are getting off, ready to go and clean the university through the afternoon and through the evening and night. And of course, as it pulls away, the thing goes, and at right angles to that is the out of use tunnel that you are coming down. And so you are now heading through into the current subway system, pursued by wasps. I've committed my fourth and final complication, which is innocent bystanders. You are pursued by wasps that you are about to lead onto that platform, thronged with local working class folk heading up to clean the university. What do? I'm thinking, Hive, you have the data, so what you do probably informs what other people do. So Hive, what do you do when the Zoomzu say, Zoomzu worried?
I think in that group dynamic, Hive is always the one making the dumbest decisions, because Hive doesn't give a shit about civilians. So I probably already grab my frag grenades and I'm about to throw them.
I think
just in a tunnel.
Fine.
Right,
I
to
think
collapse it between us and the wasps.
Okay. Now the only way to collapse this tunnel is going to be to stop and set some C4. You can use some stun grenades to slow up and hopefully disrupt the swarm. Frag grenades are going to do next to nothing to them.
Okay.
So what's your poison, Hive? Stop and set?
Nah, I just say, yeah, okay, better run then. I don't want to waste time. Let the cleaners deal with the wasps.
I'm going to go to Spider next, because Spider does have the technical expertise to set a charge. If Spider wanted to pause and do that.
I mean, I don't know, Spider. I mean, Spider is on the comms and will say, well, that's great, because if these wasps attack these civilians, the Nexus Pharma guys will be in hot water. Because they're there. Maybe somebody could stop me, though.
Those are prototypes. They won't be traceable.
You hear a yell as Tower kicks the Zoom off his Segway and turns it around to face the Hive.
No, the reason I wanted to have this possibility is, have you thought, Tower, that this might be the time to spend some intel to have an intervention by a different corporation?
Yeah, you know what?
That might provide a narrative escape clause here.
Why don't we make it?
I mean, if you stay, I'm totally going to blow up the tower, the tunnel.
I have to say, I'm leaning into Will's desire to use the shift corporate relations mechanic. Yeah. I'm not forcing you. We'll find a way to do it some other time, but you know.
Yeah, no. Let's because what I was going to do is let us shift the relationship between Nexus Pharma, the owners of this university, and what are they called? Neuroscore.
Okay.
So let's shift that to hostile.
Okay.
Because Nexus Pharma and Neuroscore, Nexus Pharma is now sending down a cleanup squad to control the failed experiment of Neuroscore. You know, they had like protocols in place, like this was supposed to be a wonderful corporate joint exercise, but they never really trusted those Neuroscore fuck-ups. And turns out that, you know, those fucking Ashworths went down there and all went to hell, and they had a containment breach. So it's time for the pest exterminators from hell to basically like deploy. You know, like I'm imagining like a full on hazard suit guys with like gas and everything, and yeah.
And so, one intel to change the relationship, a second one to declare the intervention.
Mhm.
Is this behind you in sub basement 3?
Yeah, I think it is literally in that there is as these wasps are coming in right after us, and we're like shit, and there's the civilians and towers like screeching to a halt, and the hives like, oh, the cleaners will have to blame it, like Nexus Farm will take the flak for this. Suddenly there is like a sonic wave pulse that ripples down the thing and sends all the wasps like screeching chaotic patterns, like disrupting their flight and on the floor, and then like gas starts to fill up the tunnel, and marching out of the gas to these figures who are too occupied with the wasps. And the civilians in the subway tunnel are like, oh shit. Yeah, they're running back onto the train, which is slowly pulling away as the driver is trying to work out how to get the automated thing to set off outside of its schedule. He's like, ding, 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 ding.
Fine. And that is a perfectly legitimate way to avoid the complication of what do I call it? Innocent civilians or risk to bystanders.
I would, yeah, because I think that they've managed to do it more effectively than we could do as a group.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Towers happy with that. What I would like to suggest is, I think that by invoking another corporation, I raise a bit of heat, right? Because one of those guys must see us, some segues.
You've invoked the intervention. We now need to see how well it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get to roll with expertise. You can have the bonus dice because you've spent for it.
Okay.
So you can roll the stress dice as well if you want.
Sure.
To do something else. So you could be rolling 4 dice to do something else.
Yeah.
And that goes. No problem. No complications. No particular benefits. No heat. No problem. You in the slipstream of the departing subway car, I think we probably see the zooms, just throwing some magnetic limpets to the back of the train and just hitching a ride. And that's my 4 complications used up. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe sorry, I'm just reading the.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah. So I've used up my complications. I got nothing left to throw at you. So we are going to move to debrief and payoff, or payoff as it is now called. So there is a payoff tab. In which of your hangouts is the meeting with Smith scheduled to take place? Anyone got a preference?
The one that's friendly territory, of course.
Yeah, but not at the university. But yeah,
it would seem to be not at the university would be a good idea. I think I will count that one as not on the table.
Donuts?
No, donuts are fine.
Donuts, anyone?
Donuts.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
So I'm possibly the only one who's looked at the mechanics in detail enough to see this, but if you are in an allied territory, you get a bonus to your roll for how well the payoff goes.
So we should go to the tea house.
Technically, the option would be the tea house.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, the tea house. Oh no, that's right. The Nexus Pharma University isn't in the Nexus Pharma district. Is in Little Amsterdam. Sorry, I'd forgotten. I've connected the two for no reason. So what does bioorganic feng shui look like? David, that was you.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of like cultivated 3D printing. So it sort of grows and you can guide it. So it's a mixture of manipulation and actual growth going on there. So you can grow tables and chairs and all sorts of things and rearrange them. Instead of just chopping off bonsai, you can chop off things for your furniture and your walls.
So the furniture has a natural look.
Yeah. So there's like a poly sort of organic, like bark and so forth. Yeah.
Fine, fine.
And at night, there's bioluminescence, of course.
Of course there is, and it will be night because who meets with a contact other than at night? So yeah, soft greens. Are we talking about kind of, you know, rainforest colors here?
Yeah, I mean, you can change it. Smooth lighting.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course. Smith, I think I described Smith as Muzz on this occasion. And Smith is waiting at the tea house with, you know, an appropriate Asian tea service in front of her, and invites you to sit on these kind of and they're like they're kind of like box hedges grown to the shape of comfortable armchairs that you kind of sink into these structures, and begins to, with great expertise, to undertake an appropriate tea ceremony. And she looks up and says, I assume that we are celebrating. Who takes the lead here? I think it's probably Tower as the face. How are you dressed on this occasion, Tower, just for reference?
You know what? I've always got a spare change of clothes somewhere, right?
Of course.
Like stashed in each of our places. And I am dressed in keeping with the thing. I'm dressed bohemianly. I am free-spirited but pretentious. As I sit down and I drink the tea with I go, wow, connoisseur, fine leaves they have here, of course. You know, these are imported all the way from the Tokyo Hive. I hear they grow it on the canals there.
Kumo, is your focus on the tea ceremony, the tea house, or the street outside?
Probably on the street outside, like using the distractions of watching out there to ignore her very hungry, rumbling tummy.
What about you, Spider? Are you actually in the room, or is yours the kind of Overwatch role here? I'm just curious.
I think somebody promised me noodles, and I wanted to see what that was about. So I'm here. I'm standing. Maybe I'm a little uncomfortable because the back's not at the wall and people can't see me. But I try to be more. Tower had a word, sociable or something like that. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think your attention is on, you know, is the order of noodles coming? Hive. I think it's probably narratively it makes sense that you're sitting with Tower because you're the guy with the goods.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's see how the payoff move works then. So when you meet Smith to get paid at the start of the debrief, whoever started defining the job, well, I think we're going to end up with Tower, rolls a d6. Add another d6 if the operation was a success. Yes, unless there's a snitch or hostile local gang who hangs here. I can't remember.
No, because this is a Zoom's territory, which is why I went for
yeah. Fine. And we have yet to define any locals who could be snitches. I think that's fair. So there is no snitch, so you're rolling 2d6. Add the stress dice if you're willing to take the risk, Tower.
Of course I am. Yeah, why not? Send the session.
Oh yeah, thank you, Tower. You've just reminded me. I could spec because I've forgotten about heat because you've generated so little for me. I will spend 1 heat to name a. Oh no, hang on. I don't think can I name them? Let me just check. Shift the relationships, shift the implied, blah, blah, blah. I can't create a local. Only you can create a local. I don't have enough heat to do anything else interesting.
When we get to the post discussion, I think that's something that was to say that, like, I think it really opens up ideas
it
for
does.
you to create as well.
You're right.
For you to create the world as well as us, you know?
Yeah, Yeah, I think there's something to that. So 2 dice, stress dice if you want it.
I rolled all 3, and I got a 4 on the normal dice, which was my highest.
It's a clean meet. You all get paid. All reduce stress by 1. It's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
And agree 1 from the list below. Anything you don't agree will therefore mean the other things that the alternative happens. So if you agree it's not a setup or ambush, if you don't go with that, a zaibatsu will feel aggrieved and hits you right here, right now.
So where are these again?
Sorry, this is the payoff tab.
On payoff, sorry, yeah. Sorry, new tab.
So anyone want to make a big bid for which of those is true?
I mean, wouldn't it be fun to have another ambush scene since we're short on time and we just go for the no further party interaction stuff?
What do we think?
Do you mean like a session cliffhanger?
I think what
we have a fight right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we're leaving the area, I'm up for that. It is so I would choose it doesn't attract any further attention of outside parties, as Mario says, so that there's not any new parties involved in this.
Yeah, but since we're not playing again, let's mark heat and get some sweet intel, right? I mean, I like that Smith really screwed the pooch and gave away something juicy. So
Yeah, okay.
So select Smith really screwed the pooch. All of you mark intel. And then the meeting does attract some further attention from outside parties, which means that I get to mark heat. 4 and a bit hours of play, and I'm on 2 heat, guys. Thank you. Anytime.
The lowest heat I've seen in any of these games.
Well, that first session, all those 6s.
Yeah. So when I run this, I've had so much heat coming out of my eyeballs, and I've just run out of ways to spend it.
But you did not select it's not a set or absent. So a zaibatsu feels aggrieved and hits you right here, right now. So yeah, this has to be, I guess, Neuroscore, doesn't it?
Can it be Michelle Ashworth?
It ought to be Michelle Ashworth on a rooftop.
As we leave
with a kind of binoculars, just looking down through the window of the tea house and saying, yes, they're there. Yes, go. So you have an option. Each of you has an individual option. You can choose when, the stun grenades go off. You can choose to flee for your life, or you can choose to try to confront them and take them out. Smith has the data. So I'm inclined to start with our more violent compadres here. Kumo, you were scanning the street outside. So I think let me have you roll to investigate to see how much of a heads up, if at all, you get.
Okay. So I roll a gray die. Do you have any expertise in this area?
I'm not really seeing any.
Okay. Stress. Any risk?
No risk. This is roll to investigate.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. I got a 1 in stress and a 3 in expertise.
Okay, well, I'll mark heat. Now I get to mark heat. This is, you get the basic information. So you see the shadows, you will have an opportunity to react, either to warn the others or to act yourself to avoid these stun grenades as they come through the window. Yeah?
Yeah.
What is your choice? Warn the others and take the stun grenade, or avoid the stun grenade?
I think what Kumo would do would be to rip the table off that they're sitting at to use as an improvised shield against as many stun grenades as possible.
So that sounds like you're interested in protecting the team.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's have you roll to confront to see whether you take any harm from any consequence from the stun grenades.
Okay.
So there's that kind of, and then as these flashbangs land in the tea house. You are rolling with expertise. No, I don't think you are rolling with expertise to particularly avoid this. I think you're just rolling the grey dice and the stress dice if you want it. But I think you are rolling 1 risk dice because there is a risk, and 2 because you are outnumbered.
All right.
Does resilience not come in?
Resilience could have an impact if harm is, if a consequence is a risk.
Okay.
Okay, I just thought maybe it gave expertise.
What
in the
about
with
would
being
enfor-
weird against stun grenades.
would enforcing be at all helpful, or is that just
I don't
standard?
think so.
Okay.
I mean, that requires a degree of up close and personal, doesn't it?
Okay. All right. So with the table, what do we got here? I got a 4 on my gray die, a 2 on my stress, and a 4 and 5 on the risk.
Congratulations, you protect the rest of the team. Unfortunately, you take a consequence because that risk die is a 5. Well, a 4 and a 5, but you're going to roll a d6. They are a leader of a group of nameless prawns. No, they're sorry, they're not prawns. Hybrid prawns. No, I think there'll be a bunch of contractors. Michelle doesn't fuck about.
Kumo might be tempted to eat them. All right.
So you're rolling a d6.
I got a 5.
On a 5, 4 plus. You were lucky this time. It hurts, but you'll live. So flashbangs go off. Smith immediately, somersaults over the back of the kind of couch she's been sitting on, and I think, Spider, your attention was on the room rather than the table. So, Spider, what are you going to do now that this has happened?
Well, wait, your score is trying to assassinate me with these chocolates. I think fucking kidding me. I mean, come on. Really?
What do you do?
Oh, come on. It's been a while since I shot the chocolate head, right? And they're not my team. They're not on my team. I can't shoot them. Pretty sure I can, so I will. I mean, yeah.
Fine. So, adopt a position, and the team that comes through the window after the stun grenades, you are going to try and put down.
Yep. Yep.
I'm just looking for a piece of paper that I know I had. There we go. Okay. Do your thing. Confront these armed and armored security guys. Expertise would play. Deadly would play.
Yep.
Stress dice if you want it.
Yep.
1, they are a risk. 2, they have automatic weapons. 3, you are outnumbered. So 3 risk die. Okay.
That seems to be the thing that I'm always rolling here. I've got a 4.
Which is all that matters. So I've got a team here. I'm going to take one of them out for that success. All hell has broken loose, Hive. What do you do?
Stick close to Spider in this case. Is anybody close by already?
No. Tower has Spider has taken a pot shot as they come through the window. So I'm just curious whether you want to do anything. Otherwise, I'm going to go to Tower.
I definitely. I've got my hold out close hidden. The pop-up thingy. There is probably like that is some sort of a gun.
It is.
And I just start shooting.
Okay, so you're going to try and hit one of these guys?
Yeah.
Fine. Let's have you roll with expertise because you've got kind of small arms. Stress dice if you want it. 3 risk die.
Yeah, I go with the stress die this time. 3 risk die. Oh, that is a lot.
Your expertise didn't roll, so at the moment it needs to be. Well, it doesn't matter actually, unless it's a 6. Go roll the expertise dice on its own. No, it doesn't matter.
No.
So 5 on the stress dice. Stress goes up.
Yep.
You would take one of them down, but I'm going to use up his armor, his ballistic weave,
Okay.
to because low caliber holdout.
Yeah.
But there's a 6 on that wrist die, so
Yeah.
you are at risk of a consequence.
Sure.
So confront. They are a bunch of nameless pawns. The contractors will follow up. So you are going to roll the dice and add 3.
The
Fine.
dice says 3 plus 3.
4 plus. You were lucky this time. It hurts, but you'll live. Tower.
The hit squads, you know, I'm imagining it like a back breach and clear kind of operation. You know, people like the tea house is peaceful. There's gunfire outside, flashbangs going off, goons in suit in mass coming in through the door, and Tower though sees the I think Tower looks over where Smith was, right? Because Smith should be this enigmatic like fixer type, right? Who's always super cool. So I think when I look over to get Smith out, they're already gone. But then there is the screaming, there is a panicked old woman who is stumbling through the smoke grenade as the laser lights off the things. And you know, they came here. We brought this into this peaceful place. Tower is going to get the. He's going to confront the enemy, but with the interest of helping the civilians out. You know.
Okay. Yeah. So success for you will look like the civilians are cleared. Yeah.
No. Yeah. There are no. The collateral damage is, you know,
material rather than.
Yes, exactly. That's the word. Yeah.
So I think there is risk for you here. I think that in terms of clearing a bunch of panicked civilians, persuasion would play. So roll with expertise, stress dice if you want it, but there are 3 risk die because you might put yourself in the crossfire.
Oh yeah. That is a 6 on the stress and a 6 on the risk die.
Well, mark intel before we forget, because you know that seems to be the nature of this game. So we
all mark intel for the choice that we made in the payoff as well, right? Yes. So.
So success. You know the civilians are cleared; they're no longer at risk. There's a 6 on that risk die, so you're going to have a consequence. But what additional benefit do you want to have out of that 6?
That 6. Well, the additional benefit I want is with this, I get the civvies out through a fire escape that's you know, like a back fire escape. I take out the one, you know, like the goons are sort of like coming in, right? But there's one stationed on the fire escape who I kick off the edge, leaving.
Fine, I'm going to wrap that in success. You've got the civvies out. What advantage do you want to be left with?
It's a way out for me as well.
Fine. So there is a back exit. Yeah. And we might see Smith climbing onto a motorbike and just screeching up the alley.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Just ahead of the rush.
Awaiting black car, or Mark Black car, who's does this thing, you know, like tips his head as he goes into the thing. Yeah.
Right. So let me go round to.
Should I not roll for a consequence given that it's tied?
You should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which I think that consequence is as the old woman was coming through, a grenade lands at the you know, in the doorway, and I've got to grab her and jump off the edge.
You're going to get +3 on this, so you're not going to have a dangerous one, but if you roll a natural 6, you get some benefit out.
Yeah, I got a 4, so that would be a 7. Okay. Yeah, so again, it's just a case of shielding her and then using my mods to like leap that jump down to the ground right as the ladder explodes. Jesus.
And I think that what we've got here is a lot of crossfire, but of course they are nameless goons. You are more or less safe from them, apart from the chaos that we're setting up here. So, Kumo, you took some of the brunt of the flashbangs. What do we see you do next?
Are there actually any other goons in the tea
There are
shop?
five of them came through the window.
Okay, I'm going to continue to use that amazing table. That I might get an autograph of the creator from later. And I'm going to use it as a battering ram to kind of just bash whoever I can out of the shop.
I want you throwing it discus-like across the room. I'm going to use
sure.
crush anyway.
All right.
But up close and personal, using the martial art of table. Yeah. So grey dice, expertise dice, deadly if you have it. I can't remember. I don't. You do.
I don't think I do.
But you do have crush.
Yep.
Stress dice if you want it. You are still outnumbered. There are 3 risk dice in play.
So I am using deadly for crush.
You are.
Okay. And 3 risk. All right. So that's 7 dice. All right. Here we go. Okay. I got 5 on deadly. That's my highest.
You take down another one. Yeah, I'm going to take him down. I'm bored with worrying about their ballistic weave. You take that one down because I just want to have him thrown out the window as the table impacts him in the center. He's kind of hurled out the window. Spider, what are you going to do?
So there's still some goons here, right? Two goons. Wow, okay. It's not a lot of goons.
Sorry, 2 and 1 who took a hit to their ballistic weave.
Okay, where's the leader exactly?
Now, roll to investigate then,
Okay.
Spider.
Okay. I do have, I mean, we said it's night, right? So my lowlights might help me.
They do.
Nice. So I'm rolling with expertise.
You are.
Okay.
Stress dice if you want it.
I'm on stress 4, right? And I still got 1 intel. Yeah, you know what? I want to see where they are. Yep, there's
Stress
a 5.
goes up by 1.
Stress goes up by 1, okay. Yep, but there's a 5.
Because the slight concern is that there's a hooded figure out there.
Yeah.
Who bears some relationship to Bravo.
I don't
Maybe
care.
This is his more successful brother Alpha.
Okay. Well, shooting it in the head seemed to help anyway. So I'm gonna do that.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you for that because you've spent that time just summing up the scene.
Yep. Yeah.
Is there? You've got one more question.
Just one question. One question, because I thought there was this person on the roof who is coordinating these efforts.
Michelle Ashworth.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I don't care about Alpha. I want to get Michelle because she's the leader.
Then Michelle is out there in the street with Alpha. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a moment so you can have a crack. But you've scanned the scene. That's the geography. Hive, are you just taking cover or what?
No. Now
I will remind you, you're on 5 stress.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I've been just like running from cover to cover until they're close enough, so I actually can get into the offense here. And that is once they're close enough, I think that is a relief. I spend 1 intel to reduce stress, and now I'm going full in because now I want to hack the guy that is in the first row so that he thinks one of the guys behind him, like just laying a filter over their
optics.
Over their optics. So he thinks that might be either civilian or like just unknown identity right behind him.
Oh, one of you.
Yeah.
Why not make it one of you? Which one of you do you overlay on his optics in the hope he will shoot his compadre?
Since Tower is outside the building and not inside, that would make the most sense.
Fine. I'm going to have you roll to do something else. But first of all, mark stress because you engage with the ghosts.
Yeah.
I know what effect you want. I know what the target is. Roll a d6. And add a d6. Sir, roll with expertise. 2d6 stress dice if you want it. I'm going to make you roll a risk die simply because I think there is some,
Yeah.
there's a lot of crossfire going on.
Since I marked stress, I can't use the stress dice
Oh, of course you
because
can.
I'm back at 5.
Oh, well, that's a different question.
But I got a 6 on the expertise.
You successfully overlay this, and I'm going to have them shoot one another.
Oh, what a pleasure.
How else could that go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that very much.
Mark intel because you got a 6. And I'll just stand here and admire what's going on. Tower. Now, I wasn't quite sure. You went to the back exit. You have secured an exit. Was it your intention to use the exit and flee for your life, or not?
Yeah. As much as we can fight our way out of things, it's better to run from the corporate hit squad than otherwise. And I'm not as kill crazy as all of my friends when there are no people to save or profit in doing so. So I will flee for my life, I think.
Let's have you flee for your life. And
I
what is...
I think you can hear over the comms, right, is Tower like giving off the code words in terms of like, areas clear, get the hell out of here, like fall back to the rendezvous point, and everybody else just completely fucking ignoring it.
And I feel obliged here to invoke the myoelectric arms and legs to have you run out of the fire and just leap up to the wall opposite.
Yeah.
Let's have you flee for your life and see whether you fall off the side of the building.
Yeah. Do I get my expertise?
I think you do.
I'll include my stress die. Just why not? Ooh, that is only a 3.
So 3 on a stress die means stress goes up by 1, and that is you're in trouble. Choose
unless I spend a stress anyways to re-roll, call in a contact.
Which contact would be relevant in this circumstance, and do you have enough intel to create one that would matter?
How many intel would I need to spend to create a
contact needs to be at least neutral and to have a relevant skill set to what you're interested in here.
Well, it's Delamain, the AI taxi driver, who is waiting for me on the other side of that building.
Okay, which district does he hang out in?
I think he mainly hangs out in the
technically this ought to be the breaks because that's your column of this, isn't it? So one of the breaks locals. It doesn't. He can be anywhere, but that's his home base.
Yeah. Okay. He has his warehouse of vehicles is down in the breaks, I guess. Yeah.
So okay. So I'm going to write Delamain into there. So that's 1 intel. Do you return him from a snitch to neutral so you can call on him?
Yeah, sure.
Spend another intel. And skill set is vehicles. Yeah?
Yeah.
Fine. So now you can spend stress to call on him.
Cool. Well, which I do. So 5 stress, and I will re-roll.
You will.
And you know what? I'll quickly spend my last point of intel to lower my stress so that I don't stress out when I include my stress in this reroll. That's better. That's a 6 on
That's a 6.
Yeah.
So from the camera's perspective, we see you run to this and leap for the building, and it's obvious you're not going to make it. But then the hovercab just kind of rises up underneath you when you land gently on the roof.
I was imagining it more as like I leap thing, and we just see him not make the jump right and disappear off the camera, and then it just cuts to the inside of the Delamain cab as the sunroof goes dun 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 dun.
Fine. So Tower discretion part of Valor. Hive, you've often taken your lead from Tower. What are you thinking?
Is there any of the goons where we are, or should I just
There
try
is-
to catch up with Spider.
I think there's one goon left.
One goon left.
Spider is sighting on somebody outside. Kumo has just, dispatched a table with a goon attached out the window.
Then I just grab the fire axe that is close by, and I use my agility to just cut that guy into pieces.
This is a side of Hive that we've yet to see. So let's have you confront. This is the guy whose ballistic weave has already been used up. So roll with expertise. Add the stress die if you like.
And I spend intel to just get below that because I'm probably gonna get stressed. So I use expertise, great eye, and how much risk?
2. 1 because he is a risk, and 2 because he's got a gun and you've got an axe.
I mean, it's close range. That's okay. That is a 6 on the expertise again.
Do add intel.
Yeah.
What extra benefit do you want out of this?
Oh, I want to get his comm so we see where the what did Sabine say? The neuro score, which so we can track her down.
Okay. I'll give you the advantage of being able to have some kind of advantage on Michelle. I am going to go to Spider first because Spider's using a gun. Kumo has been getting up close and personal. Spider, Michelle. Let's have you roll that dice. I mean, you're flickering in the shadows. I don't think you're at risk at this point. So there's and the crossfire in here has just died. So I think there's no risk die at play here. You're just rolling grey dice, expertise dice, deadly dice, stress dice if you want it. Oh, put a risk die in just in case somebody gets a random shot off at you.
Okay.
But it's a 6. Of course, it's a 6. Yeah, and it's not on the stress die. Why would it happen on the stress die? By all means, add intel. What do you want to happen to Michelle Ashworth?
I want her head to fucking explode.
Her head explodes because that would be a satisfying end to Michelle Ashworth.
Yep. Okay. We can go now. I'll say on the comms, we can go now. I don't
What about the noodles?
This is not the noodle shop, Kumo told me. There's a different noodle shop that has better noodles.
Oh, I thought we ordered.
I will admit I'm slightly disappointed that nobody created the #1 noodle shop as their sprawl location, but put that to one side. So Spider, you take out Michelle and then flee for your life?
Yep. Pretty much.
Kumo, last call.
Is there anyone left?
There's Alpha out there. But I think Alpha is probably backing off, given that his corporate sponsor just went down in a pile.
If even if it's just fiction, I think because I have that authority mod, I think it just gives Alpha this look like I took care of your brother. You're next.
I think I see you kind of standing in the window frame, just leaning out into the road, as and these strange compound eyes focus on you, and we get the kind of.
Oh, I think I have when I took that ichor, I think I have like a finger or something, and I pull out from Bravo.
Yeah, the one of those hooked killing arms. Yeah.
Nice.
And the insect head turns slightly akin in the shadows, and he just walks back into the remains of the smoke that and rain, which always falls in every sprawl. I'm not going to make you all flee for your life. I think that you've dealt with that intervention by the corporation very decently. It is 4 minutes past 9. I'm going to suggest we take a break until 10 past, because I can then have a cup of tea and we can have a more gentle chat about all of that. Okay?
Nice. Okay.
See you at 10 past. Okay, back for our debrief. what I'd like is to run a kind of ordinary roses and thorns, and then perhaps have a slightly more extended conversation about any bits of the mechanics or anything else that you'd have a comment on, if that's okay. So, you know, high point, low point, as a starting. So in the order I can see you, Sabine, any stars, any thorns? No, you know, roses. Do you want to award any roses today? Any particular thorns?
I just one question. I thought we were going to do some downtime.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's true. That is true. We were, and I've skipped on to downtime. Yes. Let's do a bit of downtime. Sorry, I'm now obsessed with how I can want to change it. So downtime is on the heat and intel tab. Seek relief from the horror up to twice per operator. And then the others are just mechanical prep for the next round of the cycle of play. So yeah, no, fine, thank you. Let me start with Spider. What do we see of Spider in downtime?
Yeah, I think apart from having some personal relationships with other people at the noodle store and learning that there is indeed definitely a difference in quality between noodles, which is new and interesting. Can
I just ask Kumo, in which district is the #1 noodle stand?
So I see it as a chain.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
okay.
And there's probably like even like, you know, like the equivalent of like a food truck or something as well. So yeah, I think that they're not everywhere. They're not like a Starbucks, but I think that each one has kind of its own like local flavoring too. But her favorite is of course the one where her dad operates out of.
And where's that?
That's probably in like lower middle class area district. A lot of working people.
That sounds like the breaks.
Yeah, that works for me.
So Spider, do we see you with Kumo at Kumo's dad's noodle stand?
Probably. I have to go later, but I don't want to relieve the horror or something here. I just want to. I mean, yeah, I want to connect something. So I think I don't know. Spider doesn't actually know what they want here.
So who do you want in the scene?
Everyone, maybe.
Fine.
Like past mission noodle triumphant noodle thing. Because we have money now, right? We do have money now.
You do,
don't
you
we?
do.
Wow, we do. Wow.
That's why you've got to reduce stress that way with Smith. You know, that worry is receded.
Ooh.
So yeah, you know, so go on, Spider, kick off the scene.
Yeah, that's just like Spider is looking at these noodles and looks at Kumo and says, "I did not know noodles could taste that well. This was a very interesting thing to learn about noodles. I've been eating ramen all my life, and I didn't know they could taste as good as that."
And Kumo is just like proud for her father. She just doesn't really have anything except to slurp more noodles into her face.
Your friends are always welcome here, Kumo.
Thank you, Father. And she's like his comment, like friends, like what? I have friends now?
Yes, it is a word we use, Kumo, when we see people with other people on a regular basis.
Colleagues?
Okay, dear. Colleagues it is.
So I'm confused now, a little, but it's okay. I know comrades, but I accept colleagues.
Hive, Tower?
Tower is, you know, obviously, you know, Kumo won't stop talking about your place, Mr. Reels off the name, you know, like #1, not just the name, it's a way of life.
Everyone calls him Kumo's dad.
Kumo's dad, yeah, Mr. Kumo's dad. You know, one of my best friends, really. Like
Mr. Dad in more formal environments. Hive, I mean, you're this kind of slightly detached nihilist. It seems to be. What how do you relate to all of this?
Yeah, I was just thinking, and probably food related stuff is something that can give me joy, but I usually only order like some delivery stuff so I don't have to deal with people. So I'm not really sure whether this situation helps against my stress or not. But I just felt it felt like an obligation to join.
Where do you want the scene to go, Spider?
I don't know. That is exactly where I wanted to go. I want to see the people in their natural habitat, like Hives suspiciously slurping at their noodles, and Kumo enthusiastically digging in and beaming proudly at her dad, and Tower schmoozing Kumo's dad, of course. Yeah, and Spider being kind of overwhelmed by all the social stuff going on. So yeah, that is what I wanted.
I see Kumo would have like like family style, like all these different small dishes, and like be recommending different combinations.
And of course, Kumo's dad gets out the ceramic pots, rather than using the kind of waxed paper ones that he uses normally for the his normal customers.
And Hive has no idea, just uses way too much hot sauce.
Mr. Dad, who's that in the hollow? Who's that little baby there?
Your sound went then. We'll say that again.
Yeah.
Who's that little baby in the pictures over behind the counter, Mr. Dad?
This is my Kumo.
Oh, Kumo.
And I'm seeing this as it is a truck, but I think maybe it's a rickshaw truck. So he cycles this about different places, and then he has the thing that the kind of front that folds up, and hanging there is this little round oval laminated picture of this Asian child. How does it look like Kumo, or has the work that's been done on Kumo really changed even the way this child has grown up?
Well, Kumo, like this is her adopted dad, who found her after she roamed the street. I imagine she was like about 8, when the two connected. So it's probably like another kid, like her adopted sibling or whatnot. But Kumo doesn't like correct him or anything like that. So
it's got to be for maximum embarrassment, right? Like, oh no, that's Kumo. Oh no, the baby, that's Kumo's sister. That's Kumo, and then points to the little girl at the back, right?
Yeah. So like Kumo, like if you glance at her, probably there's probably not much difference between the photos. But if you like stare at Kumo now, you can definitely see it's a different person.
Mario, do you want to set a scene focusing on Hive? No pressure. I'm just putting on the table.
I think that a character like Hive isn't really good in having scenes on themselves in like a one shot or a two shot. So but I think I might have to ask for a favor, because we saw some gear got burned up when I extracted the data the first time around. So I need somebody's contacts, because well, you only get that like special discount until people get to know Hive. And then it's getting super expensive because they have to put up with all their shit. So I always ask other people for new street talk contacts, and feel free, whoever thinks they got the best one that is not burnt.
Well, yeah, and I think the issue then becomes who wants to spend some intel to create such a contact.
I've got 3, or did I lose one when we did the payoff?
No, I don't think so. I think you all you lost a stress but you gained an intel.
No, because the intel was the actual package that
Oh,
we
I
were
beg your pardon.
supposed
Yeah.
to-
Yeah. No. You can keep all that. That's fine.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
was
then
just
I
my
have-
way of keeping track of the fact that there was a thing.
Yeah. Then I've got 3 intel and since I'm asking for it and I just need somebody to set me up, I think that might do.
So it is the column that's under Paranet and the Nexus Pharma University. So do you want to name your if you're going to spend 3, you can spend an intel to name and define a skill set for this contact hive. And then you can spend another one to improve their relationship with you.
So sorry, where is that? It's in my row, right?
In your column in the sprawl, yeah. There's
Yeah.
2 names there
Okay,
for
perfect.
locals who also hang at Metal Heaven.
Oh, that is convenient. I just don't know if that's the right place to be right now.
Well,
that
no,
is
you can call them a
Wilgen.
contact. They can come to you.
Yeah. I think I take Vilgan if that's okay with whoever sets me up with them.
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. And skill set, I've just realized that the skill sets, I've just lifted the list from your expertises rather than the list of contacts. So I'm going to put street dock for Wilgan. Yeah. So that costs you 1 intel. A second intel would turn him from a snitch into someone who'll work with you.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And hopefully I won't spend any heat to suborn him. So yeah, you've got a street dock contact you can call on for a bit of repair and recovery, which suggests to me I do probably need to think about a different kind of seek relief from the horror, actually. When I think about it, medical treatment, street dock treatment.
Yeah.
Let me write that down.
I think Kumo would be an obvious one who would know some doctors.
Yeah.
It's a good call. What is since you probably know my history with street dogs and being ungrateful, what's your advice or what's the warning that comes with the contact?
Well, I think this contact is basically someone who's does moonlighting for people like us, so they kind of have an understanding of the kind of personality. Their hope is to one day get into like some hospital or research center, but right now, to kind of help pay the bills, they do these off the clock sort of things.
Is that all you wanted from that, Mario?
No, I wanted just a very brief scene where we see that there is an endless list of calls that never got picked up, where Hive tried to call Dr. Harmony to talk about all that shit.
Yeah, a little beeper goes off saying, remember to call Dr. Harmony. And you call Dr. Harmony and there's I'm sorry, I can't get to my phone at the moment. Please leave a message. And that's the 20th you've left.
Yep, that is not good. I mean, I was rude at a last appointment, but not out of the ordinary.
And do you want to spend any intel to tie down Dr. Harmony? Don't know how much you've got left.
Yeah, but I don't want to take time from anybody else's idea, so we could come back to that.
Fine. Let me go next to Kumo. Kumo, what do you want to frame a scene?
I kind of feel like Kumo and Tower haven't really done a whole lot together. Are you okay with that, Will?
Yeah, I think that, Tower is going to be treating you like his actual personal assistant for the foreseeable future. He'll always be, Miss Kumo, please.
And you don't know if he keeps it up, eventually she'll snap. Yeah, so why don't we just, what if it's just like them at, um, in that guise, like just some scene in the future, where they're waiting for, to meet their next client. And they're in this really fancy, like, suite. And Kumo's just standing there all demure, like in this, the nice suit and all that. And Tower is there with her.
And he's getting the table ready and everything,
Yeah.
just so and all of that. And then he's like, right, 2 tumblers, ice, whiskey, and he sits down and he stands over the table and he looks down at the chair and he's like, well, go on, pull it out for me.
There's the glass.
Yeah. I told you need to get into character before they arrive, all right?
I think that she kind of flows into it, and she, like, I don't know what kind of outfit you're wearing, but maybe like straightens something on you. And I think you both realize it at the same time. It's a little awkward for her that she doesn't really touch other people unless she's in character. Like, the only time she really touches people is when she's, beating them up. And there's this, like, sort of like almost human thing there, and she kind of catches herself like, oh, is that appropriate?
And Tower just gives you like a steady look, and then like an actual human smile rather than the fake one that quickly turns into the glaze as the door, rings, like ending the moment.
Yep.
As he goes to sit down, he just puts one hand on your shoulder and then lets go and sits down.
And I think you, like, feel her, like, because she's usually fairly rigid, like, just soften just ever so slightly, and then gets back into the pose. Nice.
Okay. And finally, Tower, do you want to frame a scene?
Yeah. It's as Hive is coming around from the Ripperjack that's replaced their burned out crone and got them back up. And Tower is just sitting on a stool in front of it while the dock's off, like probably like some makeshift gurney, and kind of like, rather than the full chair, it's like a portable version of that. And the actual dock is, Welgan is off, like cleaning his hands in the bathroom sink or something, while we're sprawled out on the couch. And Tower's, I think Tower's got a gun in one hand that he's just been cleaning while he's been sat waiting there. He's like, "You're awake, good. Listen, I'm glad you made it. But remember what you said on the comms. Let the civvies deal with the wasps. They're not part of the game. They're not part of the rules. They're not expendable. You are. And I'd like to seek relief from the horror by being bad to someone.
Yeah, behaving badly.
Behaving badly and verbally abusing them, basically, like this whole nihilistic shit that you've got going on. It's all fun. It's all shits and giggles. But if it hurts a real person, not one of us or one of them, then it's all fucking over,
Reduce stress by 1 and roll a d6.
That brings me down to 0 stress. Sorry if this inflicts stress upon you, Mario.
Oh, because he rolled a 6?
No,
4 plus, okay. And they are an operator. They take it really badly. Agree with them why they are so hurt by what has happened. Why does this get to Hive?
Because it's not part of the job. It's making our work much more difficult if we now feel responsible for every dumbass that comes along and crawls the wrong shafts and the wrong tunnels of the city. It's so dumb that I think there is like one of those cleaning robots just roaming around, and I just stomp it. Just because I can, just to make a point that I heard that I don't give a shit who or what gets hurt.
Let's see how big a shit you give. Roll for stress.
Oh no.
A 6. Stress goes up by 1 to 5 again.
Yes.
Wow. Anyone else want to frame a seek relief from the horror?
Feel free to throw some back my way if you want, guys. I mean,
Which I've already renamed as maintain an even strain.
I think I need to do something a little less personally. Like, yeah, I'll just go out and kind of behave badly, I think.
To the world.
No, not hit the wall. This is more like, okay, I have physical needs. And people tell me this is kind of a way people connect, so I'll try that. I'll try to have sex with some random person wandering around wanting that. So yeah, sure. I mean, maybe it helps, kind of, right? But
Who knows? So
yeah.
go ahead.
Don't
Behave
tell
badly, reduce stress by 1, and roll a d6.
Okay, I'll roll d6. I'm rolling the green one. That's a 1.
One to
That's
3.
not great.
Your inadequacy is clear to everyone. The
Yeah.
other person pities you and you are ashamed. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again. Or do you want a piece of software, bit of wear to glitch?
No, I don't have wear that can glitch. So I have genetic modifications. They don't
Of course you
glitch.
Yeah. Oh, they might. You
Oh, they
know,
might. You're right.
rejection syndrome is always an issue.
Yeah, maybe my hair goes kind of limp and black and like this didn't I don't know. Maybe it helped a little
I
because
think
I'm reminded of who I am. Right, I beat
mean,
him up after that, but
yeah,
just-
I mean the truth is that because none of your areas of expertise are connected to your wear, you can't use
Yep.
that option. So it
Yeah.
is expertise is unavailable till stress goes up again.
Yeah.
What about who else are we looking at here with a bit of stress? I mean, I'm looking at Hive in terms of stress. How do we see Hive seek relief from maintain an even strain now that Dr. Harmony isn't on call?
I do some like Sabine had a good idea, and I think I do something similar. I check TikTok for the nearest riot and just gonna participate in smashing some streets.
Okay, behave badly, reduce stress by 1, roll a d6.
So what's it gonna be this time? A 2.
2. Your inadequacy is clear to everyone. The other person, the people around you think, what's with this nerd? Hanging on the edge of the crowd, kind of trying to join the kind of, we're here for a reason, that this is just a hanger on. You cannot use your expertise until stress goes up again, or would you like this experience to glitch some of your wear? If you go for the glitching of wear,
it would make sense, yeah.
Then it will not be available until the next downtime. So it will be unavailable throughout the next cycle of play.
No, I don't like that. That is a bit too harsh because that is all I do. And I feel there is a good chance of Hive dying at any moment just because of how the stress mechanic works with ghosting.
Okay, so expertise then cannot be used until stress goes up again. And finally, Kumo, do you want to frame a seek relief, maintain an even strain?
I don't have any more stress to get rid of.
Oh no, you don't. I've just realized.
Yeah, because of all of the other things that have been going on. Because I start with the 3 stress already. No, I think we just see Kumo like getting, I don't know, if patched up from the fight. She probably is in line and sees the doctor.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to say, I am, as you are framing these scenes, trying to write "The Doctor Will See You Now" as an additional move, but I don't think I'm going to get it done in time. But I think the idea is clearly necessary in this genre of game. So I think that's downtime. Kind of go on, Tower.
I actually only did the one thing, but I would like to spend my last remaining intel to define the secondary discrete interest.
Go on.
Neuroscore, which is I'm gonna say gene engineered, like, I don't know how, because what I want to say is that they want to build a a literal like worker drone class, basically. You know, like
Okay.
they want to engineer like not just the high end like superhuman modifications,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else is focused on. They want to create a Brave New World style thing.
Creation of drone humans.
Yeah. Let's call it drone
Or
drone
engineering drone humans.
engineering drone humans.
This makes me think of like the gig economy in a weird way.
Oh, that's what we're doing.
Like the drone economy.
The drone economy, yeah. You're genetically engineered until you take whatever they give you, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Sabine's comment in the chat. So they went from creating beautiful death angels like Spider to making working drones.
That's capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just too expensive a sideline in research tree.
I think I'm a fucking work of art, and they don't appreciate that.
Okay, I think that's where we're going to close this one out, because I think that is the complete. Oh, go on.
I have one idea. I don't know if it's worthwhile to pursue, because I have that serum, and I don't know if spending intel would make anything of that to produce sort of like a like basically if I were to use it as a weapon against alpha, like basically a weapon.
I think the way we play that would be, it would require someone, probably a contact, to do some work on it. And I'm now into, do we need research clocks to be running in the background while stuff is going on that you can spend intel to advance? I think that's a level of mechanic that we've never got close to in the core game, but it does occur to me that it would be an interesting thing. I'm just going to scribble down here, research clocks, because the way we deal with creating weapons in the core game is you just call on a contact and in effect you roll for their technical expertise. But I'm just wondering whether the kind of stuff that might come up in a cyberpunk context might require more intel to be spent.
Yeah.
It's also, you're not James Bond and James Bond. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get the shady weapons dealer who just gives you the perfect thing. You're cyberpunk, so you're kind of everything. You know, you're full on PC character. Yeah.
And that might require the creation of some kind of quite specific contact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite interested in the idea of these contacts being quite specific in certain cases, because they're mostly in the core game. Contacts are about getting a bigger gun, or a drone strike when you really needed it. So I think there are subtly different ways, I think, in which the creation of the sprawl should have these quite specific specialists in it. Perhaps I'll give some thought to that. Research clocks and specialist locals. There we go. Okay, can we have a quick kind of stars wishes debrief? I'm interested in any roses, any thorns, any thoughts on system or play. So in the order I can see you, Sabine, you want to kick us off? Any roses, any observations?
Well, I like the game, obviously, because I've liked the others as well, so it's no surprise here. I like what you've done to make it cyberpunk. I like the wear, how that works. I think that works well. I like that we have more stress to play with.
Which you immediately then use up by filling up on cyberware.
Of course you do. I mean, yeah, but it's still a choice, right? You could play a total normie and just go in and say, what stress? Why would I be stressed? Everything's chill. Take this pill. Oh, yeah, I'm wondering now, of course, about drugs and enhancement drugs as a mechanic.
Yep.
Just because I just said it, right?
Yep. I was just thinking it, and then you said it. I'm like, of course. Yeah. But of course, you have to roll like some sort of effect to see if it would be detrimental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that could just be rolled into some of these rolls, right?
Yep.
And then we could say, okay, I've got stress because these
Yeah,
drugs are doing fucking my brain a little.
Yeah, adrenaline pumps and other things. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I think it works well with the genre. I think the characters were really funny. Not funny, but they were really great. They were fun to look at, and they were appropriately dystopian, because cyberpunk is actually not about happy elves and stuff like that. So
That's
yeah.
very true. It's very true. Okay, thank you for that. Anything? Let me go around. Mario, any observations? Any thoughts?
Oh, plentiful. This session, it felt very deadly and very fast. And that ties into the character keeper. There was always, you did something, you had to check boxes, and you could uncheck boxes and stuff like that. And it usually was like 1 or 2 ticks, and that felt fast to do, and it kind of like supported the feel of the game. The dice roller, as it is, works very good, because you have it all sorted and you roll it, and that, even though it's a lot of dice, it feels very fast. I like start to the group, because I like the smart and cool fighting ideas. I did lack some ideas occasionally, and it took me a while to get into the game, but it was very inspiring to see you use more the environment and what was there than your actually load, which was something I was worried in the beginning, if we would have enough slots for weapon, and now we had a bunch of leftovers, which was very cool. I like the theme the adventures we're in. I always like the cyborg hybrid, especially like using animal traits and stuff like that. It's like one of those niche tropes, but yeah, I'm here for it. And it's a good way to not harm animals, but kind of like have that horror-y and wild feel about the fight. I like the idea with the corp intervention in the tunnel. That was a neat mechanic, but it's something you need to remember, which I just didn't. But therefore, I liked it all the more that it came up, and that I got to see it in play. I liked the chat, especially the noodle chat was pretty cool.
Noodle chat is always great chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the idea with like having like with the wasps secret and trying to use that as a weapon. And now we already talked about mechanics like that, but I think that is a fun thing that sometimes gets overlooked, to try just like repurpose stuff that you get on a mission, to just like have a bit of a history that comes in handy later on. So stuff like that, I like that, and it always gives you something to play with. Yeah, the hovercap scene was pretty cool, because we had a lot of like people falling off roofs. That was a good quota. I like that. The downtime scenes were pretty much like that. They all were very good and very fun. And overall, we had like a good mix of like terrifying violence and just like comedic stuff. That was due to the group. I don't know if the system supports that, but it was so much fun to play. But I was wondering, how high is the death toll due to stress for characters that heavily play with the mechanics? Because if I would, yeah, I mean, now I get it with the intel, I can use that, but I don't see how my character will be anywhere below 4 anytime.
Played so much of this, and loads of my characters have just been on like 4 or 5 constantly, but I've only lost, I think, 1 overall.
And that was kind of deliberate.
I was totally deliberate.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have pulled you started out with high stress, I think, and then you have something that generates stress, so that might not be the ideal combination, actually.
Law is a guarantee, right? It's the one thing in this game. User.
Will you keep coming and going? I don't know if your
it's just
mic
my
is...
microphone. It's probably not very good. I don't know why it's changed, but law is the one that will jacket your stress right up, basically. Like, it's the one thing that you will guarantee to always be going up on stress.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be honest, that is quite deliberate, because it's a very flexible advantage and can generate quite a lot of mechanical benefit, in a way that individual pieces of cyberware can't really. But yeah, I know, I take the point. It is a choice you need to make, I think, about whether you want to go heavily cybered, or have that as a talent. Don't know.
Yeah, to be honest, I knew that I could look on the mechanic aspects of adding cyberware, but I just wanted to take what I thought would make sense for my character.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore I started with it. But that's a good point. So yeah, for me it felt super deadly, and I basically always was at 5 that I had to reduce it to be able to make a roll that felt somehow survivable. And I mean, you want that feeling in a cyberpunk game, right?
It should feel dangerous. Now, can I interrupt there, because I want to segue to something I've written down, which is this game. If you choose cyberware, you're going to have a smaller stress track usually, and therefore, secretly from the horror is likely to come up more often. And one of the observations people have made in the core game is that sometimes Seek Relief can put a break on the action with a flashback or whatever else. And I'm just wondering whether Seek Relief from the horror as it currently exists is the best way to deal with stress accumulating in mission. Or whether that is where you might then ask people to spend a resource in order, the way that most people now who played this game a bit spend intel to reduce it. I wonder if you could simply declare a stimulus. You talked about drugs, maybe a stim pack. Declare stim pack, reduce stress by 1, and it uses up your gear slots as a cost. I'm just curious whether
I like actually the really secretly from the horror, because it puts more personality in this, instead of just mechanizing it. Like take one slot here, put one slot down there. That's just mathematics. But secretly from the horror with flashbacks and stuff like that.
You have actually put drugs in the list of gear, so you can use it to immediately roll the indulge device, right? And it's how high you get on your stims and whatever, right? And the consequences, you're sloppy, so you generate heat basically, like, as you go.
Yeah, I suppose the concern I've got is that the traditional pain-free way of seeking relief is to throw the anchor under the bus, which involves a kind of cutscene, or to drop another operator in by going into your history together. I just wonder whether that slows things down. But if that hasn't felt it,
I would say I agree with you. Sometimes it has broken down the revealing your history and things like that. I would actually maybe just, it's a case of limiting your options to what you can do in the real time rather than via flashbacks.
Yeah, and maybe add an option or two.
Yeah.
And if you can do that into revealing some of your history together, like as you both duck from under fire and you go like, shit, this is just like that time back in Guam, right? Like,
but that is a heavy load for the players, right?
Yeah, but you got the easy option of just take a drug. Like it's up to you to choose your fictional framing, right?
And I think these they might slow down the action a bit, but I think it's a good way. Sometimes you don't need to go boom 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 boom, because that is tiring as well, and you need to break it up.
Fair enough. No, that's an excellent point. Thank you.
Just the way I like to play stuff like that. For me personally, I would like to have something like, I mean, I always could offend a teammate, which would make the situation more complicated. Also, what about there's some sort of like you would have to like something about the group where you have to act in order. So if we say we're just like assassins, we don't care about like lives of others, then I would have a different option to act out of the ordinary and potentially cause heat for us in order to reduce stress.
I think I need to think about that. The idea of, I mean, at the moment, you can frame those to suit the character as you conceive of them. I don't think I want to tinker with that necessarily by coming up with separate lists for different worldviews. But I take your point. David, can I come to you? Any observations? Any roses? Any thorns?
I think it was good to see more character interaction, even though it was mostly at the end of the session. But I did like the other stuff as we develop, like how we fight together, how we think and operate. I think that was good. I was concerned about Mario's character with I couldn't, because of the stress. I wanted to see more of that ghost ability come up. So that was just me saying, I want more of that. But I mean, if the feel of the game is to be more like risk, like even using the ghost ability is risky, then maybe that's fine where it's at. I'm glad we got to see sort of a hacking opportunity. So I think I got a lot out of these 2 sessions that I would be looking forward in most any cyberpunk sort of game. And I like what you were just talking about, the options of quick and easy mechanical, get it out of the way, and also narrative focused. I think if you have the option to do either or some continuum between them, I think that's cool, right? Because sometimes you just like, I don't got any ideas, just give me a stim pack. And other times you're like, oh, I got this great story idea, let's hash it out.
Yeah. So it's maybe not either. It's either not what. Sorry, it could be both, not either. That's what I mean.
Yeah, as long as it's simple for the players to and everyone to engage with it and then get back to things.
Okay. Will.
I thought it works really well in Cyberpunk. I like all of the sprawl stuff, the building, the world, and everything. I think that works really, really well in doing the sort of improvised way of playing, like world building and building it as we go and all of that. But yeah, I loved what everybody did with everything. That'd be a big rose for me, was the places they made and the way they interact with it all. I blend slightly into the feedback. I get why we all defer to each other when we're looking at like people's areas or NPCs and things like that. But I do find that world building games like Microscope and stuff like that, they do work better when you accept that when you've made something in this world, it's up to the next person who talks about that to iterate upon that, and then it's up to the next person to iterate upon that. And I think that we slowed things down and we limit ourselves by saying it's your area. Like if I've created the breaks, that's not necessarily where I think the tower should be all the time, right? But it's where it's just the general sort of feel. I get why the inclination, but I just think it's better to get that done. Like Microscope works perfectly like that, and you just have to live with it. I really love the Kubo scene. I thought that was great at the end. I'm glad that we did all that downtime. My big star would be to Sabine for bringing that back up again, because I was looking forward to downtime as well. And I was like, well, I'll live without it if we just want to go straight on to the feedback. But I really enjoyed all of that, the noodles and everything in particular. And I really enjoyed Hive being the nihilist. I know that like I had the seek relief from the horror against him, but that's also one of the reasons why I want to have those characters in those things, right? Is that, and my character changed from being like much more cynical in my conception rapidly towards the more heroic person as I saw what the rest of the squad was. I was like, well, we can't all be bastards and psychopaths and sociopaths. Sorry. In terms of like ideas about the system, where my one niggle with it always is the goons. I find when I look at the mechanics, my brain just turns off in terms of taking them as anything other than rolling a dice, because they can't really do anything to you. The I love the way the chrome worked. We did the chrome. That is exactly what I'd imagined with the enchantments thing, but it seemed in that game it was much harder to get everyone to be looser. We were very much like focused in on it does this specific thing, whereas in this game we said it's an all flat, you know, and all it's just a recoloring of you've got super senses or
Yeah.
you've got whatever, right? And I think it's hard to write a system with that sort of open interpretation and examples and things because it's so like stick your finger out and test it right. But I think that's actually part of the fun of it, you know, like as long as I think it works really well when you got trust between people as well to be like, that's what you say, that's what you say, we've made our case, we'll move on, kind of thing, you know. But I think the chrome works really well as a thing for the medic to be able to do, perhaps, you know, when you tick those boxes off to say that it feels currently like I have a load of options on the off chance that I lose my expertise. I have 4 things and I regain all of them, so I'll always choose my the thing that's probably not going to be relevant for the rest of the session, right? And I'll recover it all at the end. But perhaps that could be one of the things that only a medic could do to force you to get into that. You know, they're the only ones who can refresh a piece of chrome,
A glitched where,
yeah,
I think that's true.
And I also think that losing some chrome, either the tick, your link skills, or your actual chrome, could be a good extra consequence on that. You know, roll for consequences, perhaps.
Yeah, I wasn't certain whether there was an obligation on you if you ticked a box next to crush as being where connected, whether there was therefore an obligation on you to choose a piece of ware that explained that connection.
I would go with that personally. That's kind of what I did, but I'm not sure how well you can do that with the list of gear without making it really, you know. But I'd really like it to be, I'd like it to be a suggestion at least, you know, maybe. Clocks, great idea, I think. Like Sabine said, you know, I think it'd be really good to have you be able to maybe like the players make new chrome and new items via that kind of mechanic or whatever, right? Like, you've got your zaibatsu stuff and now you're going to splice it all into you. And finally, you could also have a zaibatsu clock that you could spend heat on that would then have their plans come to fruition and they could make movements and stuff rather than just change their relationships. Payoff, I think you spending the heat could be a way of like, it's on their turf or your turf, or we could spend intel at the start of a mission to confirm where you know, to have it on allied territory. Because if you leave it to the players, why would we ever choose not the allied territory, you know? Because those are places we want to spend time in as well, right? And I currently don't see why, you know, like you have an allied contact and an allied gang, but if you have an allied, you'd always have an allied gang over an allied contact because the gang is the one who's either one of them's going to, you know what I mean? Like currently they overlap on that way. You get the payoff movement, basically. I think it should maybe be just an individual to give you more of an incentive to make the individual matter and their hangout. And sorry, that's all of my extensive feedback on the system, which you knew I'd have thoughts about it, right?
No, indeed. And that's why I've asked you. I think there was something else you said in play, which is that corporate intel spends should turn into mark heat.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
you erose intel, I mark heat. Seems like a no-brainer after you said it.
That's passing the money across each other, basically, right? You know, as opposed to off into the bank again.
Exactly. And I think that there does need to be the doctor will see you now move, which is only applicable during downtime, and you know, like Seek Relief, but for dealing with wear. And I think probably there is now an obligation to, if you decide that your crush is related to wear, you do need to take, you know, myoelectric arms or something similar. That does seem to make sense. Otherwise, there's no explanation for where that comes from.
Could be a very, like, if you don't want to take a full one, maybe you just have to spend 1 stress to put in something to be like augmented arms or whatever, right? But I don't know.
And the nature of the augmentation will depend on what you ticked up above in terms of, you know, whether it's Spider's muscle grafts or Kumo's myoelectric arm. I think there's something to that. So that's really helpful, folks. Thank you. And I think it does have legs. It's worth persevering with. What I'm not certain I could say to you now is, can we set a date for, you know, to carry this on? because I think I need to spend a week or two just cogitating on this and just messing with it before we sit down again. Otherwise, it'll be, I mean, Sabine, bless you, sat through a whole series of Against the Dark Conspiracy from, an entirely different game system.
This was not an arduous task, Alan. It was usually quite fun. And sometimes there were a few glitches where I thought, okay.
Yeah, I bet it was the rules changed every session back in the day. So my design model has changed a little bit since then. I like to sit down and think about some of this stuff. But that was really helpful. I think it has legs. It's been decades since I played Cyberpunk as a GM, and thank you for throwing yourself into it. So I'm conscious we have come to time. I was slightly nervous that we wouldn't, so I'm going to stop the recording.